Gaming fans, it is time for another exciting episode of the Press Start Pod. I'm your co-host, Dean Samples, and the one and only Joey Schneider. We have a big show for you tonight. Sorry.
What is up, Dean?
How you doing, brother?
Oh man, I'm excited, very excited, man. Anytime we can talk about games, it's a good show.
Oh yeah.
So
you want to tell the people what we got on the agenda for today?
I do. We have we got a good show for you guys. So first, obviously, as every show, we're gonna talk about what we've been playing this week, what we've been enjoying. We're gonna hit the news and rumors. We got a great topic here. Is Xbox Game Pass the best value in gaming, or are Sony's exclusive a better value? Even though you pay more, are they a better value? We're going to be talking about some Pokemon ZA coming early next year to Switch systems.
Yep.
Maybe a little. You got to talk about that. We're going to talk about, and this is a kind of a continuation of last week's, just a thought we had, but we're going to talk about the best consoles of all time, what we think are the best consoles of all time, and then coming hot off of a ridiculously good WrestleMania, we are going to be talking about our top 5 wrestling games of all time.
Yes, sir.
Big shout out to Cody Rhodes for winning. Big shout out to Roman Reigns for being
what a roller coaster of a story.
It was you know what really got me, and I unfortunately I wasn't able to be on the Pile Driver podcast this week. I wanted to, I couldn't do it, but what got me was Samantha Irving at the end when she was crying announcing Cody that was like,
yeah,
like that was
she. Honestly, in my opinion, she was the MVP of the whole weekend.
Oh yeah,
she called both nights. She did phenomenal.
You know what? It's so great too because if you guys behind the scenes, she's engaged to Ricochet.
Yep.
And I loved it when he did that. He did that 450 onto the table on Monday night, and before he did it, he looked at her and said, "I'm sorry." that he did it. I was like, "Oh, that's insane."
Yeah, they've been together for a while. Both great people. I've seen Ricochet live. That dude does some crazy stuff. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this about top 5 wrestling games. We're gonna do that at the end. I've been giving it thought all day. I got my list. I'm ready for it.
I had, and Dean knows this. I knew in my head the games, but I didn't really put them in an order till like right before the show started. And this is the funny thing. My honorable mention. I'm like, oh God, I hope I can remember this wrestling game. And Dean just, like, of all the wrestling, Dean just hit it. First one. And it wasn't even like an easy one. Like, it was obscure. It's like somewhat obscure and old.
It was. It is too.
Just you immediately out of
your face, you're like, shut the. Hey man, Derek, appreciate you, brother. Thanks for joining in, man. Yeah, let's get into news and rumors, man.
You want to get into news and rumors, Derek? Thank you, Derek.
Yeah, let's start it off with some news and rumors.
Does Mortal Kombat count? Mortal Kombat does not count as a wrestling game. There's a fighting game, and I promise you, one of these shows we are going to do our top 5 fighting games of all time, and that's going to be a good one because man, are there a ton of good fighting games. Before we get the news and rumors, I know you're a busy man. You were on call all week. Did you get a chance to play anything this week?
This past weekend, I finished the Stellar Blade demo finally. Really enjoyed that. I was actually really surprised how much I enjoyed it. I didn't go into it with high expectations, even though the hype, but that's just kind of how I go. I go into any game I'm playing. I want to feel it and judge it myself, but I was impressed. The mechanics, the graphics, I'm into the story. The chicks are badasses. I mean, it's cool. I'm into it, man. I think I might have to grab it. I'm kind of weird. It's kind of weird that they don't have like any Steelbook pre-orders, no deluxe editions, nothing. It's just a straight game. It's kind of cool in the same sense. It's just weird. You don't see too many games do that anymore.
But I'm telling you, it's just kind of the way things are now. Going to a lot of people just going straight digital. You're gonna see a lot of collector's edition stuff go to the wayside here soon, and that's kind of a shame. Unfortunately, I did go all digital. It might come to bite me in the ass at some point. I know you did tell me this right before we came on. And what was your thoughts on the as I call them, the jiggle physics?
I definitely seen what you were speaking of, good sir, and I can agree with you that it's there.
They're there.
They're
It's
there.
hard. It's hard to comment, but it's not. It's one of those things where it's so in your face, and when you're like into the action of everything, you're not really paying attention. But when
No.
you're kind of just like, okay, you're like in this lull moment, you're walking around, you're like, oh,
Or even
well,
a cutscene. You got a
yeah,
cutscene. You're just like, damn.
you're like, well, that's it. That's what people are talking about. It's fun. It's gonna be. I mean, it looks. We both played the demo. We both really enjoyed it. I love the action, like you said. The chicks, everyone's, main character Eve badass. I mean, just extremely stylized. Love it. Love the demo. But it's hard. It's hard to ignore the jiggle physics.
Yeah.
Because it seems like someone put a lot of freaking time into them. It's not. It does not. It was definitely. It was blatant. They blatantly did it. Sex sells, Dean. Sex sells, buddy.
It's been proven for years. Look how successful the Attitude Era was.
Very. Bring back Stacy Keebler. I don't care how old she is.
What else? Divers, of course. Still getting into Starfield. I also started Gears 5 because I've heard the rumors, so maybe want to pick that up and play it again. What else on the PlayStation that I play? Oh, on Xbox, my buddy Conby in the starting Conan Exiles.
Oh, Conan Exiles.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Derek's rumor Dean is podcasting from the Oval Office, so get those picture windows. Oh my god!
The last thing I've been playing, I tossed in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collection.
Oh, so good!
Love it. If anybody has not picked it up yet, and you have a PS5, they have new copies on GameFly for 17 some change, free shipping. Just throwing that out there. That's cheap for the Teenage Mutant Ninja collection. There's like 12, 13 games, all the classic games. If you're a Nerd Turtles fan, you're dumb not to grab it.
They have those on sale pretty often too. Either whether it be on Nintendo, the eShop, or the PlayStation Store, or the Microsoft Store. That's on sale pretty often, and
but if you're a physical copy guy like me,
yeah. If you're a physical copy guy,
I like copies.
I know you do.
For digital, but I also like if I really like a digital game that I bought, I'll go get the physical just to have it. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably keep the digital version downloaded on my console to keep putting a disc in, but I have the physical disc just because if internet goes out or whatever, you know what I'm saying, just pop it in.
Unless it's still one of those games that needs to be online always.
Oh, another thing I just purchased, I haven't opened it yet. On Xbox, I got Splinter Cell Chaos Theory from the original Xbox.
Oh, so good.
That's the best Splinter Cell in my opinion, and I was just feeling it, man. We were talking about the Splinter Cell last episode, and I just been on my mind all week. So I was like, I wonder if they have it on the Xbox store. And sure enough, dude, I was like,
I believe that was the one that had Spies vs. Mercs multiplayer, which was phenomenal.
Yeah, the multiplayer and the leaderboard and all that shit is not supported.
No.
Like that, but to play the campaign and all that all over again, man.
I would love to see them do another like a remake of that of Splinter Cell Chaos Theory, and then
they announced one
and remake Spies vs. Mercs. That was so good. It was so good.
They did announce that they were going to. It was a while back that they were teasing that they're going to remake the original Splinter Cell, I think. But there hasn't been no news.
I think there's been a tease that they're remaking every game ever made. So until
I'm still waiting for that Silent Hill, man. It's been release date's been to be announced for forever.
They are trying. They are trying to remake everything. I myself still spreading democracy and liberty all over the place. Loving Helldivers too. I didn't get a chance to play as much as hang on a second. For those of you who don't know, I have a little bit of a cough, so you might have to. I'm trying to mute myself so I don't cough in your guys' ears. Yeah, I know. But didn't play as much as I wanted, as much as I'd like to. It's been a little bit of a busy week, but went from 40. I went from 30 to 40 between last episodes, and I think I'm like 44 now. So almost that Admiral. And they raised the level cap to 150. And they brought out the new Warbond pack as well, which is based around explosives. It's got 4 new weapons, 3 new armors, a whole bunch of new stuff. So
I did see that.
Yeah.
I didn't grab it yet though, but I did see it.
A lot of good stuff. You know how we did I believe we did best first person shooters, and I have Helldivers already in my honorable mention for best first person shooters of all time. So, I mean, it's just
I mean, that says a lot right there, for real.
It does. Obviously, played a lot of 2K WWE 2K24. I'm really into like every game mode. You know, I got my character. I got I'm into my faction. I'm trying to get create a better faction. My faction's name is the Kingdom. That's where I went with Cody.
I'm hoping I get it next week.
It's good. And then then I got GM mode where I'm currently ruining everyone. Me and my buddy got a GM mode going on. My champion is LA Knight, and my women's champion is Io Sky. So
hell yeah.
That's actually
were you upset that Io lost the title to Bailey?
That's tough. It's tough because I feel like Bailey, and Trips, as I call him Trips, like I know him, but Triple H said the best, which was Bailey is basically like she's just like she's like always there. She's what did he call her? Like kind of like the cornerstone, just like the foundation. She's just always grinding, always. So I'm interested to see her kind of in the face role again, because she's been a heel for so long now.
Yeah.
So I'm happy, but I mean Io was so good. She's a phenomenal wrestler. I think my only complaint with Io as champion is I would have liked to see her defend the title more. It just seemed like she held on to it a whole bunch without defending it a lot.
I agree.
And especially now you got Julia. Now you got Julia up in the WWE.
Man,
craziness, right?
She didn't know that the pop was for her. That's why she's kind of like looking clueless. She wished she could redo it.
Didn't they ask her to? Didn't she ask if they could do it again?
Yeah,
they should have.
Yeah. I mean, she's good. I'm excited to see what happens with that. But what else have you been playing?
The last thing that I really been playing, just because I love it, I loved it so much. I've been I restarted Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know you haven't played any Final Fantasies. I'm going to get you to play a Final Fantasy one of these days. But
what's one I should start with?
You know what? If you really want, if you want to go kind of light on yourself and give yourself like a really good start, find Final Fantasy. You could get it on Switch at Final Fantasy 2. Okay. I believe it was 2. It's Cecil and Kane, and there's a whole bunch of characters, but Cecil and Kane are kind of like your main
That's the name to them. I couldn't tell you one character from Final Fantasy.
I know. So Cecil he's a Dark Knight who then turns into a Paladin. He's like the main protagonist, and Kane is his best friend who becomes a Dragoon. And then this is like Super Nintendo, by the way. So it's Super Nintendo graphics, but it kind of gives you the overarching story of Final Fantasy, and no Final Fantasy is connected as far as protagonists. They're all separate.
That's
But
cool.
I would start there. Then I would move to Final Fantasy VII because it's, in my opinion, one of the best Final Fantasies of all time, if not the best. Then
Okay.
I would go 9, and then which was 7 and 9 were both PlayStation 1. 10 was PS2, and then 12 was also PS2, and then I would probably go 16, which is PS5, and if you like 7, you can get into the remake and Rebirth, which were parts 1 and 2 of the Final Fantasy 7 remakes, and then they got a part 3 coming out in probably about 2.5-3 years.
Okay.
So lots of Final Fantasy if you want to get
I'll
into.
look up 2 on my Switch after this. Because
Yeah,
just like I want to let the people know, you already know this. You know how we did our comfort games. Yours was Stardew Valley, and mine was
yeah,
just straight murder. Like
yeah. Just
I did download it on my Xbox. I haven't started it yet, but I'm giving it a chance.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. But let's get into the news and rumors. And not a. We talked last week. There's rumors out there that Sony is going to be coming out with a showcase sometime in May. And I feel like this kind of has to happen. So hopefully, we'll see something from Sony in May. And now there is another rumor that Microsoft is going to have a showcase on June 9th. That's going to be like their summer showcase, and the rumors included in that show is State of Decay 3, which is one of the games they showed us when it launched, and that'd be something I'd want to see. And Gears of War 6, which to me is, I mean, Gears 6, if done right, is going to be potentially the biggest game that Microsoft releases this entire generation. Along with those games, I mean, obviously there's going to be a bunch of others, but those were the two that everyone was talking about. But along with that, the other ones the other big one was Call of Duty 2024 reveal, which I know a lot of people they're
Black
kind of
Ops,
like
Cold? No, what was it? Black Ops,
Gulf
Vietnam,
War.
Gulf War.
That's the rumor. The rumor is that it's a 3-year development cycle, which is the longest a COD developers had in a long time, and that the reveal and that it's going to be it's Treyarch making this one. So you got one of the
I enjoy Treyarch.
I love Treyarch.
So I'm looking forward to this. But
Yeah.
to go back real quick, when I got my Xbox recently, one of the first games I downloaded was State of Decay 2.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't got into it just yet, but I've heard good things about it. I don't know if you've ever played it, but I heard it's a really enjoyable game.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do. The expansions. I mean, there's really just a ton of stuff in that game, which is why I'm really excited to see how good
edition too. So I got all the DLC too. So I'm like, okay.
No, yeah. You got a long gaming a long weeks of gaming ahead of you. But also in addition to the COD 2024 reveal, supposedly they're going to announce the older Call of Duties are going to be coming to Xbox Game Pass. That is the rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. I did not
like the original Call of Duties,
like
back when they're
I'm talking. I don't know what they mean by old. They just say the older Call of Duty. So I'm assuming they're talking like the original Black Ops 2.
I want like the original Call of Duty back when like they might already be on Game Pass. I know they have a few, but like when Medal of Honor was still big, like Call of Duty was just coming in fresh, like trying to earn their keep in the game.
Yeah, I don't remember who was someone mentioned Medal of Honor our last podcast. They jumped in with us.
Derek?
No, it wasn't Derek. It was someone else mentioned it. I can't remember what it was. Man, there was a point when Medal of Honor was so good. Medal of Honor Frontline. I think Frontline was my favorite.
Frontline. I'm having a brain fart.
That was the one where you stormed Normandy.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah,
it was like D-Day. But what do you think about those games being potentially revealed at their show?
I'm more excited for Gears. Honestly, I can't. I mean, like it's cool the State of Decay 3, but since I haven't gotten to 2 and haven't really got a taste of it, I love zombies. I love zombie games, so that's always up my alley. Any type of horror game is always up my alley. But Gears, I love Gears. Just like I said, I've been itching to play some Gears lately. I downloaded 5 again and started playing that, and I'm loving it. So bring that shit on. I know the PlayStation Showcase is probably going to hopefully about Silent Hill 2 remake. I heard something about another God of War, maybe a remake.
No, well, there's been rumors about a remake, and there's also rumors that they are hiring positions that they are filling right now to work on the next God of War. Because I don't know, did you play Ragnarok?
Oh yeah,
okay, so
I played both of them.
Right,
love both of them.
So you know that you kind of have all those. You had the symbols in the game where it kind of shows Japan, it shows Egypt. I think it was, I can't remember. I think there was an Aztec symbol, and there was another symbol. I can't remember. Was it China? I can't remember. So, but it kind of gave you an idea of maybe one of these places is where they're going next. And man, I mean, God of War in Egypt or a God of War set in like an Aztec setting or. Like that would be God. You know what? Even though we have all these games set in Japan, and one of the rumors for the PlayStation Showcase is Ghost of Tsushima 2, I would not be upset if there was God of War in Japan. I mean, that would be
that either, dude. That'd be sweet. Actually, that would be sweet.
I know. I think God of War in Egypt would probably be just because there's so many. That would be pretty ridiculous. But that's the rumors for this week. I mean, at least the big rumors.
Yeah, there wasn't really much else other than that. But
you know what I did? They did show off that Prince of Persia game you were talking about a couple weeks
Rogue,
ago.
yes, yeah, the Rogue.
I believe it's PC only for now, and it's not made by Ubisoft. It is another company that's making it. It's a roguelite. It looks extremely different than anything else, but it definitely looked pretty cool.
I'd give it a try.
Yeah, I mean, I love roguelites, and I know you do too. Roguelites and Metroidvanias. So, but kind of piggybacking off of what we just talked about with Microsoft potentially having a showcase, Sony having their showcase. A lot of stuff you're going to see on Game Pass. And you see a lot of exclusives from Sony.
I think they just added the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, the Rise of the Tomb Raider, something like that. They just added that to Game Pass today.
Tomb Raider is always a good game.
Oh yeah,
especially the newer ones when they revamped them. They were all good.
It's one of the newer ones.
But this was a question I wanted to ask. Do you believe that Xbox Game Pass is the best value right now in gaming? Or do you believe that Sony's exclusives are the better value? Would you rather have access to all those games from the Xbox library, or like 3 just dominant, amazing, like God of War, Spider-Man 2, and let's hang on, let's
damn.
Just because I know you're a big fan, would you rather have Game Pass or like God of War, Wolverine, and Silent Hill remake?
Come on, man.
I had to make it hard for you.
See, now I have both.
It's good that you have both, but which one do you think is like, if you had to pick one, if it's almost like I'm taking one away forever.
What? Come on, man. I would have to say.
You know what? I'm gonna let you think on it for 1 second, because I'll give you my opinion first while you think about it.
I'm going Game Pass. I'm sorry.
You go with Game Pass? And you know
Yeah,
what?
you got day one editions. It's always evolving. PlayStation, they'll have their exclusives, but they don't drop as many. Um,
But their exclusives are
Phenomenal.
outstanding.
I know. Xbox doesn't really have any huge exclusives except for Gears and Halo. But
And Halo to me is like, and here's
it's
my
almost a
problem
dead
is like
franchise.
if so, like I would take Helldivers 2 every day of the week and twice on Sunday over Halo right now.
I'll take I'll take Titanfall too over Halo right now.
God, Titanfall 2 is so good. I really wish they do a Titanfall 3.
Yeah.
But they're
Or
working on
just
this Star Wars stuff.
that new Star Wars game looks pretty cool.
But I will say, and I am not a fan. We talked about this, I think, the first episode. I'm not a fanboy. I own every system. But I personally I would take Sony's exclusives because they remind me kind of back in the day when 360 was out, and when like Halo came out, and like the first Gears and second Gears and even and third Gear, like those were like events. Like you would go to the store and it like the store had like hundreds of people at midnight. You're waiting until you're waiting with people. You're talking about games, and it was an event to be at these things. And I feel that that's what Sony's exclusives are. Like when a new God of War releases, it's an event, and then you're so excited. You're trying to learn what you can about the game, and they do a good job of like they give you info about the game, but they don't completely oversaturate it to the point where
Yeah,
you know everything about the game. So you're still discovering stuff.
that's a good point. That's a good point.
It's just for me, I'd rather have 3 games I really, really, really want than 90 games that I'm probably gonna play like 2 of them, or 90 games that I really don't have much interest in. It's a lot more variety, but how much it's kind of like Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. It's an exclusive to Sony. I'm
Is it
probably gonna
really?
play that game. Yeah.
I
I'm
didn't see.
probably gonna play that game. I've already beat it once. I'm probably gonna beat it like 2 or 3 more times because it's just so good. God of War, God of War I played with like 4 or 5 times.
I love God of War.
Yeah,
I played
it's
every single one since they've came out. I love it.
and
Kratos is a bad dude, man.
and then they give you cool stuff, like in Ragnarok, they didn't have to, but they added in that the roguelite.
Norseman.
It was
Yeah, and
like
I love how they added the Norse mythology to it too. So it's like you got the Greek mythology and the Norse mythology kind of clashing in the newer ones, and I love it, man.
what
It's so good.
I'm saying like in like Ragnarok specifically, how they didn't have DLC, but then they gave you that new mode, which was like a roguelike mode,
Yeah,
where like, but if you completed it, spoilers coming up if you haven't beaten it, so just letting everyone know right now, if you beat that mode, you get the Blade of Olympus, that you can use in a Spartan Rage mode back in the normal game. It's like you go through this mode. You're playing through this mode, which is like just treacherously hard, but when you beat it, now you get to bring back the Blade of Olympus and use it in Rage mode in the regular game. I mean, just little stuff like that they add. Like when Ghost of Tsushima came out, love the game, and then they like, well, here's the multiplayer that we had. It's not that great, and it was phenomenal. I mean,
it was phenomenal.
the multiplayer was so, oh my god, I played so much getting the legendaries. I mean, it was excellent. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima, if they announce Ghost of Tsushima, I'll lose my freaking mind. I'll lose it. I'll absolutely lose it.
When you first told me that, I lost my damn mind. I'm like, no, ain't no way, man. I would love that. I love it.
It's got to happen. And God, you know what the crazy thing too is Sony. Who makes Sucker Punch? Sucker Punch Studios, Sucker Punch Productions, who is owned by Sony. They're the ones who make Ghost of Tsushima, and they did such an amazing job. But the other franchise that they make is Infamous. So you're kind of like,
oh, man. Infamous. I forgot about that game.
It's and it was on
they do with the hands.
Yeah, it was on PS3, and they had, I believe,
the Second Son was another one.
That was on PS4.
4.
Yeah.
Then they had one with a chick, didn't they?
No, I think maybe I know there was a DLC to the Second Son.
God,
I wasn't a huge fan of the Infamous game on PS4, but the original 2 on PS3 when you had Cole and he had like the lightning powers. Oh my god, just
fun. Perfect. God, I want to play that now.
I know. You know what?
So long. It's been so long.
If you get the highest tier of Sony PlayStation Plus, you have access to it. You can play them whenever you want. But
I'm looking
so as far as is Game Pass the best value or Sony's exclusives? Dean is saying he is going with Game Pass. I am saying Sony's exclusives. Let us know what you guys think in the chat. I'd like to know what you guys think, because it's so tough. Like, you look at it, like, you have hundreds of games on Game Pass. So like, I understand it's like you're going to find something that you want to play.
Like 2K, like the shows on there. If you're a baseball fan, you got all the Halos, you got all the Gears. They have a Fight Night, EA Sports Fight Night game on there.
So, speaking of which, there's a rumor there's going to be a new Fight Night coming out. I may have to put my undefeated streak on the line. If anyone wants to come at me in EA Sports Fight Night, let me know. You will lose.
I'll take that challenge.
I said I needed a challenge, Dean, not an automatic victory.
Okay.
We're gonna have to start streaming here soon.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, it's gonna have to happen. But a game that we haven't talked about, and I don't even know, we haven't talked about this franchise ever. Not really personally. I think we've mentioned it maybe, just in passing on the podcast, but Pokemon ZA coming out early next year, 2025. They said Nintendo
Pokemon Legends ZA. So they're continuing the Legends series, which I'm excited about.
Is it Legends ZA?
Yep.
You're right. Pokemon Legends ZA.
It's a new adventure awaits within Lumiose City. Lumiose.
I gotta tell you, what is your Pokemon? What is your fandom level at on a scale of 1 to 10?
I still collect the cards,
so I'm gonna go with.
I almost pretty much all the Switch games except for like 3. I've been playing the game since I was little. I love Pokemon, man.
People don't realize, especially that I'm 39. I know you're around my age. We're when Pokemon came out, we were around that 10, 11 range. Yeah. So we grew up with it. It's like almost 30 years of Pokemon, or I think it is 30 years.
Yeah.
So
97?
Was it 97? I think it came out in 95 in Japan.
It came to America.
So I would have been 11 or 12, depending on what day it came out. So yeah, I mean, that's, I literally have played every single Pokemon game. I haven't skipped one game. Every single game I've played, I love them all.
I couldn't tell you my favorite. I really couldn't, but
I can't tell you I
even got like Pokemon Snap.
Pokemon Snap original N64 was so good.
Bring out a new Pokemon Stadium, damn it, you cowards.
I think that might have to be a top five Pokemon games at some point on one of the shows. There's going to be crossover. There's not that many. We're going to have to allow the crossover.
They're so good though. Favorite Pokemon is Snorlax and Gengar.
Oh man, they're up
spirit
for me.
Snorlax is my spirit animal.
So Snorlax, I think, is both of our spirit animals. You know who my
I got a Snorlax shirt that says sleep talk. Like, yeah.
you know who my spirit animal is, and I don't even know if do you ever watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Robert Baratheon.
That's your spirit animal.
That's all he wanted to do was sleep, drink, and other things. That's my spirit animal. But if I had a Pokemon that was my spirit animal, man, that's a tough one. Probably just, I don't know, Charizard. I don't know. It's tough because you know what, I hate that like everyone's favorite Charizard. I know, I hate that everyone says Charizard, but like I grew up with, like, Pokemon Red was my first. Like I bought it like within the first week it came out.
What about Dragonite?
You know what, I like Dragonite, but I'm kind of in that camp of I wish they would have continued that line with Dragonair. It made him like a big serpent as opposed to a derpy dragon. But he's so adorable and dumb looking. I love it.
He is. He's the greatest.
But I will say one of my favorite Pokemons, and the reason I'm bringing this up, we're going to be talking about Pokemon Legends ZA here. One of my favorite Pokemons is X and Y. Because number one, I freaking love Mega Evolution. I love Mega Evolution, and Mega Evolution is coming back in Pokemon Legends ZA. I know I know I can't remember it's not actually pronounced ZA. It's like some weird thing, but I can't remember exactly how to say it, but we're all going to call it ZA. Everyone that talks about it calls it ZA. But I loved when X and Y came out because I loved how it was like the French setting. They had such great new Pokemon like Honedge, and then, and that evolution line turned into Edgy Slash, and I love
Edgy Slash.
Yeah, such great.
I almost wore a Pokemon hat today for the show.
That would have been good.
I have an Ash Ketchum one.
I think I have an Eevee hat somewhere. My daughter bought it for me.
That's sweet.
Yeah. But X and Y, I love the setting, and then I loved the starters. You had Froakie and oh god, I'm losing it here. Froakie, Fennekin, and why can't I remember the grass? I know the final evolution is Chestnut. What is the? Can you remember?
I'm picturing them. I just can't fucking say the name.
I know. Fennekin was Chestnut. Chestnut was the final evolution. It's killing me. I'm looking it up because I know I'm going to look it up and then I'm going to be pissed off. I'm going to be pissed at myself. I'm like, how did I not? How could I? I'm trying to think of it before.
I got my kid a Pokemon book.
Oh my god, Chespin. Chespin. Damn it!
I'm about to go grab it. I think this book's right here. I'm going to grab it real quick.
But there have been just so many good Pokemon games through the years. And I mean, I don't know if I can even say that there's been a bad one. And a lot of people have talked about how not Sword and Shield, but Scarlet and Violet, because the performance issues. And I get that, but it's still not a bad Pokemon game. It's still a fun game. The DLC was good.
It's in the kid's room. I'm not waking him up.
But I loved X and Y because I loved Froakie turning into Gray Ninja. And then
badass.
And it was the first time that you not only, well, I should say the first time, because Yellow, you got all the starters. Yeah, you start with Pikachu, then you got all the starters at some point in the game. But in X and Y, you got your regional starter, and then you got to choose one of the original 3 starters. You got to choose Venusaur or Bulbasaur, Squirtle,
Squirtle
or
and Charmander.
Charmander, and because they all had Mega Evolutions. So obviously me, I had Great Ninja, I had Charmander, and I'm just wrecking shop. And then
Charmander's the way to go. I love both. I love the other two. But
I love the other 2 as well. But then another great Pokemon they had in that game, new was Fletchling. They turned into Fletchinder and then Talonflame. And that was, I think that may have been the first regional bird that had a secondary typing of that wasn't normal. It was Flying Fire, which was awesome. X and Y was great.
The newer Pokemon, damn, I'm trying to. His name's Graveyard. He's a dog.
Oh, Greavard.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, because they had the 3 dogs. They had
and the pig. What's the pig's name? The fat one.
Oh, geez, Oinkaloink, isn't that it?
Yeah, it's Oink something.
Something like that.
He's my spirit animal too.
Nah, I'm trying to think. In Scarlet Violet, you know what? I'm not a fan. Meowscarada was probably my favorite starter, and I had to restart the game like 10 times.
I've never heard anybody say Meowscarada is there.
I think because Flower Trick is just. I think that's probably one of the strongest moves in the game. If you're a grass Pokemon, it's a 70 power move that always hits critical. If you do the math like I do in Pokemon, because I do competitive battles, you're talking like, that's so that's 70 plus stab puts it at 105, and then a crit puts it at crit's 1.5. So
that makes sense.
So now you're putting it at around 150 move.
Jesus. Do you ever play the actual online game? They have an app for it. And like it's for those codes when you open up a pack of Pokemon cards, you get a deck on Pokemon Live online.
The trading card?
Yeah, you can actually you collect the cards digitally.
Right.
You can make your own decks and you can battle people online and it teaches you how to play. That's actually pretty sweet.
That I have never done. I've just done
give it a try. I got a whole stack of card codes I can give you just to get you hooked up. I got at least 150 cards of decks that I need to scan in. So let me know. I got you, dog.
But Pokemon Legends ZA, Legends Arceus was so good, and
it was good and it wasn't.
I loved it. I loved everything about it.
I loved it too, but there's some things that I was like, wish they would have. Maybe things I wish they would have done. I don't know.
I loved the regional variant, or I don't know if they call them regional variants. I loved how they had, like the Hisuian variants, and then they had the starters, and they had the Hisuian starters. I loved the alpha Pokemon. They were just like monsters, like massive versions. I loved everything about it, and now they're kind of giving us, at least in my mind, it's like Pokemon Legends of Arceus it's the third game kind of in Pokemon X and Y. Everyone thought we were going to get a Z at some point before
I did too.
And it never did, and everyone has been screaming from the rooftops, give us Mega Evolutions back, and now we're getting
what we want.
Yeah, now we're getting this game. Where you're going to be building Lumio City so obviously it's in the past. At least that's what we think, and Megas are coming back, and I'm just over the moon about this game. I cannot wait. I'm just surprised it's for a Unova remake.
Are you pre-ordering it?
Absolutely.
I like it.
Not even a question.
I'm right there with you, brother.
I'm so when they showed ZA, I was like, oh my god! And then
I still think Arceus is better than Scarlet and Violet. To be honest with you,
you think it's better than Sword and Shield.
yeah, close.
Arceus is Pokemon's Arceus is probably my favorite Pokemon game of on the Switch. And the Switch has had a ton of Pokemon games. It's had
Yeah, dude.
the Let's Go games.
Yep.
It had
Eevee and Pikachu.
yeah, it had the Let's Go,
Sword and Shield,
Snap.
Snap,
Then it had a Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl,
XY Dungeons, the Dungeon
Snap 2, then Scarlet Violet, and it's probably and then you're gonna unless it's only on. Oh, I think
hold on. There's one I'm forgetting. I'm looking it up.
Scarlet Violet, Sword Shield, Let's Go's, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
You got the free one of Pokemon Unite that's on there.
Pokemon Unite.
Pokemon Quest.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, Pokemon Mystery Dungeons. That's what it's Rescue.
Did they do a Mystery Dungeon on Switch? I don't think they did.
They did. Rescue Team DX. That's the one I don't have. I don't have that one, and I don't have the Let's Go's. There's one more. It's similar to Pokemon Stadium. Very similar. Pokemon Tournament DX. That's what it is. Look it up.
Interesting.
Pokemon Tournament DX. It's probably the closest thing we have to Pokemon Stadium. Very limited Pokemon you can use in the game, though, which is stupid. But
I agree. But Pokemon ZA, very excited for it.
Me too.
I think it's time to get into some deep talk here. We've already talked about a lot of stuff, but we got to talk about best consoles of all time. I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to say PS2. PS2 is definitely in the conversation for best console of all time. I think
would say that.
It's got to be.
I feel like you would have, out of respect at the time, you got to throw like the Sega Dreamcast in there as well.
I respectfully disagree.
Why? Just like what the graphics and the stuff that they were able to do at that time.
The Dreamcast was a system that was ahead of its time because when you start talking the PS2, the original Xbox, because those were, and the GameCube, those were the three that kind of were the same generation. Yeah. They were all 128-bit, which NES was 8-bit, Super Nintendo was 16, then it went 32, 64. Well, PlayStation was 32, and Nintendo 64 was obviously 64. That was that generation, and then it went to 128. Dreamcast was out before all of those by a couple of years.
That's what I'm saying. Like from a respected, I'm not saying it was one of the greatest, but it's like an honorable mention. Like, hey, we gotta give them a little hat nod and a little salute. Like, thank you for your service. You've implemented shit from your failure to make others successful.
Okay, that's where I can.
That makes sense.
I would say that's where I will give it its flowers, is that you had the 2Ks on because the Dreamcast they never had any EA games. A lot of publishers,
ESPN,
a lot of publishers weren't making games for the Dreamcast because they were still making games for the generation prior to it, and they weren't going to make exclusives only for it. So there was a lot of big publishers that just weren't making games for the Sega Dreamcast, and they kind of really had to pull some stuff from a lot of sources.
They did the
But
best with what they could, but
we wouldn't have Marvel vs. Capcom. We wouldn't have the NBA and NFL 2Ks.
see what I'm saying, man? It's just you gotta give them their respect.
Oh yeah, I'll give them respect, but I don't think respect, sure, but best console of all time. I don't even know if it's in I don't even know if it's in the top 10. I can rattle off 10 better consoles than the Dreamcast.
You're right.
But I have PS2 in there because just exclusive after exclusive, good game after good game. It had everything. It had first person shooters, it had RPGs, it had sports games. I mean, it everything that you could possibly want. That system had. It was so good. And in the same breath, I will say, I will throw the original Xbox in there as well. And people are gonna, I know, because that generation to me was, and I'm gonna tell you why, because you had Halo and you had Halo 2, you had excuse me, you had Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, you had Jade Empire, which was another BioWare game. You had Ninja Gaiden, which was exclusive to Xbox.
Love Ninja Gaiden, dude. I played Ninja Gaiden on regular Nintendo.
No. But when they made the 3D game.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say the original Ninja Gaiden was on NES.
Right. Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3. But then they came out with a trilogy that was on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they started making the 3D action adventure Ninja Gaiden, that was exclusive to Xbox, and Xbox really pioneered the with the internet. Like they're the ones that really got the internet off the ground. I was playing with people on Halo 2. That's really was laid the groundwork for what we have now. So I would put the original Xbox in there just because of absolute classic games. I mean, to this day that are.
I would put that 64 in there too.
64's got to go in without a doubt. I think the original PlayStation's would be in there. And you know what? Here's the thing.
You got to put the new generation ones too. You can put the Series X and the PS5. I have both of them, and I think they both look phenomenal.
I would not put either one of those systems in yet. I would say PS4, yes. I would say Xbox One, no. This is my opinion.
Your opinion sucks. No, I'm just joking.
PS4 was a system, and I've said this many times. It was built on a promise. They were like, we're going to bring you the best games that you've ever seen. And for the first 3-4 years of that console, you were just like, you had a couple of okay.
Well, yeah, it's just like the PS5 and shit now. Like, you got some weird games that no one's ever heard of that are coming out in first because they just want to get some stuff out.
Well, I mean, PS5, you've had Ragnarok, you've had Spider-Man 2.
No, I'm talking about when it first dropped. Like, when the system first comes out, you got those weird games they just kind of push out just so people have variety to show it off. And there's a lot of trash ass games. No offense to those developers that are in that era. I mean, they still do that to this day, but
that's every console. Yeah. Every console's got to have, I remember. I'll tell you a game that I remember when Xbox 360 came out. They released King Kong. I think it was just called Kong, or I can't remember. The game was like garbage, but the graphics were absolutely insane. And I was just thinking, like, oh god, like this is basically just a way for them to show off how good games can look on the system, and that's all they really needed it to do. But I mean, okay, I think that there's an argument almost that almost every console can, if it's your favorite console, then it's the best console of all time. But if I have to whittle it down to 3 consoles.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say for me. For me, and this is just off. I'm not putting any thought into this. No,
I hate you. I was hoping we were just gonna leave it at like, let's just throw in some considerations, and now you gotta put me on the spot and pick 3.
Here's the problem: is like you can pick every console, and every console has an argument for greatest console of all time. But if someone's like, okay, you could have 3 consoles, and we could do a top 5 on this at some point, but I don't think we need to. I'm going to go.
We don't have to.
I was not planning on doing this. This is just top of my.
I'll name my 3 right now. Gun to my head, my favorite 3 of all time: Super Nintendo, N64, PlayStation 4.
Okay, I'm going to go. PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2 is my number 1. My other one, I'm not putting PlayStation 4. Super Nintendo, N64, PlayStation 2. I've had some really good memories, and I played some really good games off all those consoles that I will forever love.
I'm gonna go PS1, PS2, and my third one, Nintendo 3DS.
What?
Why are you walking away?
I was not expecting that. I'm not hating on it. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Think about it. It played Game Boy. It played Game Boy games. It played DS games. It played 3DS games. You had a ton of Pokemon, Mario's, Zelda's. The 3D thing slider was cool.
I mean, your points are valid. I'm not hating on it all. I love that.
You could bring it with you.
You blew me away when I was not expecting that.
People don't talk about how good the friggin' the DS, the 3DS, that entire. I mean,
yeah,
it was. I think it was good. You could play Black and White 2, X and Y, Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon. 5 Pokemon games on that console, on top of all the different Marios, on top of the different Zeldas they put on it, Kirby's, obviously all the big Nintendo games, and no, it didn't have the sports games that you wanted, which is, but that's why PS2's in there for me, so I can play.
Yeah,
like we did our top 5 sports games. I could play Madden 2005 with Ray Lewis in the truck stick. But it was the fact that you just put it in your pocket, take it with you wherever you wanted. That was so good. It was so good. So
I'll give you that.
I'd miss my first person shooters, but those were just, if I'm just going based on pure, just how much fun. I mean, PS1, you had Final Fantasy, you had 3 Final Fantasies, you had Metal Gear Solid. You had a ton of really good Capcom games. PS2, more kind of more the same, and even more than that. So those are my 3: PS1, PS2, and the Nintendo DS, 3DS, the entire family. And that's
a solid one right there, my dude.
I pulled it. That one I pulled out of my ass. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm ready to get into this wrestling thing, man.
This is we got top 5 wrestling games of all time. As you know, as everyone has know by now, we're trying to do a top 5 every single show. We did sports games for our first episode. We did first person shooters last episode, and today, coming off of that hot WrestleMania, we are doing top 5 wrestling games of all time. Fighting games do not count. It is purely wrestling games, professional wrestling. So if there's an amateur wrestling game out there that I don't know about, it's not included.
This could be so good. Who wants to start? Who gets the honor?
Yeah, you know what? I started week 1. You started last week, and I will start this week. My honorable mention, and you know what this is. It is Pro Wrestling on the original NES. This is the one that I was like, oh God, why can't I remember the name of the game? And it was so simple.
I'm like, what is it? Pro Wrestling for NES? He's like, yeah. How did you? I think that's it.
Yeah. It was, oh, I mean, that was like, that started it all for me. So as far
Yeah,
as,
that's a classic, dude,
yeah,
for sure.
that's my honorable mention. What about you?
Okay. ECW Hardcore Revolution. I'm an
Oh
E-
man.
I'm an ECW fan for life, so I gotta throw that in there. It was their first video game. It was a good one.
I think, yeah, I think it was two or for those of you who do not know, Dean is also a co-host on the Pile Jar podcast, which you guys should know by now. I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, 2 or 3 podcasts ago. You guys did the top or your Mount Rushmore of ECW.
Yeah,
So if you guys get a chance, go check out Pile Jar Pod
check it
and
out,
look
man.
to watch that. That was a good episode.
At the end of April here, we get to go meet Sandman, Shane
Oh,
Douglas, and Sabu. So I am
oh,
pumped. I get to meet them all three at the same wrestling event, and that we're covering too. So it's going to be a blast. So
that's gonna be awesome.
shout out to Neo Pro Wrestling out in Canton. If you guys want to go and meet some legends, tickets are only $20.
I'm gonna
So,
go into my number 5 here. WWF Royal Rumble for the Sega Genesis.
okay.
I wrecked all of my friends with Papa Shango, and they couldn't understand Papa Shango and his finisher, the shoulder breaker.
That's a good one. I love that's a damn good game, man. I thought you almost took mine. It's not my fifth, but my fifth is WWE 2K14. It was the first in the series.
Yep.
It was a good one. So
That's a very good one.
with the Rock on the cover.
Yeah, I actually look forward every year to seeing who's going to be on the cover. This year, though, it was very anticlimactic because I think everyone knew who was going to be on the freaking cover of the game. I'm glad that Bianca and Rhea got to be on the deluxe edition, but if Cody was going to be on the cover, there was no other choice. But sticking with that, Dean, my number 4 of all time is WWE 2K24.
Okay.
From what I have played, you went with 14. I mean, I haven't had a wrestling game be able to keep my attention for this long. Like usually I'm in it for a week or two and then I'm out. And this one is just I got my faction, as we talked about. I have my rise, my character. I have GM mode. I'm doing everything, everything in the world in this game, and it's all refreshing. It's all fun, and it's not. It's been some of it's been done in other, in previous games. It's never been so refined. So. There's of course there's little things I could pick out, but man, it's
Give me
just
1 second. I'll be right back. Seriously, just give me 1 second.
all right.
I
I'll
gotta
keep
take care.
talking about whatever. If you guys, what are some of your guys' favorite wrestling games? I'm gonna ask that question because, and if you say one that's on my list, I'm not gonna show it. I just want you to know that right now. And what did you guys think of WrestleMania this year? Me and Dean talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, but it was good. I thought it was a good show. I can also tell you, I know what Dean's number 1 wrestling game of all time is going to be, and I'm not going to steal it. unless we go in the exact same direction and we both picked the one that we thought the other wasn't going to pick, and we just decided to take the same one, which would be something that would happen between us. Also, let us know what top 5s would you guys like to see? Would you like to see us do? I think that there's just such a massive amount of different top 5s we do. Genres, games in a franchise. I mean, you can go top RPGs. But Dean's a big fan of the Western style RPG. I tend to lean more to the JRPGs, but it's not. I love the Western RPGs as well. The Witcher and Cyberpunk games like that. So let us know what you guys like. Let us know if there's anything else, any other any topics you guys want to see for future shows. I mean, we love when you guys interact with us. The more the merrier. Thank you for the people who have been watching. And we are just waiting on Dean doing whatever the things Dean is doing.
I'm so sorry. My work phone went off.
No worries.
I had to call Buddy and let him know what's going on. Oh, my apologies. I am on work. I work a job that requires me once a week to be on call. I do fire protection, so if someone has a sprinkler head or fire alarm go off, yeah, I'm your guy.
I was just letting the people that are watching we love when they interact with us. Let us know the stuff they want to see us talk about, and we will talk about it. But so my number 4 was WWE 2K24,
which is mine will probably be inserted into mine. I'm sure once I start playing it. I haven't played it yet, but I'm eager to. I'm tired of watching everyone play at the clips. I'm just getting like, man, God, I want it so bad. And like the Legend, the 40 Years of WrestleMania edition's on sale right now in the PlayStation Store for like 101.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
that's another mode that's great too. The 40 Years of WrestleMania.
If you think about it, the deluxe edition is 99 normally. Let's call it 100. So basically like $20 off.
And you get all the new. I mean, you get all the packs,
which I'll probably end up getting anyways. That's what usually happens. I'll usually buy the base game, end up sucking in and getting the season pass, and then.
And CM Punk's going to be in it at some point.
Nice.
But what is your number 4?
You ready for this?
I am.
WWF the arcade game.
Oh, so good.
It was like Mortal Kombat graphics, but like you get, instead of blood, you got like random objects flying out of the people that are like based on the character.
So that is where you thought when I went WWF Royal Rumble, you thought that's where I was going, the arcade.
Yeah, dude, I got nervous. Like, no, don't take it.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
I would love that game, dude. Doink the Clown, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon.
Doink was always good. But
my parents,
Razor Ramon, one of my favorites of all time.
The VFW, and they went bowling all the time too. So me and my sister would always just chill in the arcade area of these places, and they always had that with like San Francisco Rush and The House is Dead and all that stuff, dude. Like, such good stuff. So yeah, number 4 is WWF the arcade game. They ended up bringing it to, I think they had it on Super Nintendo shortly after, but yeah.
I think they did, yeah. I'm going to go my number 3. I am going, I'm sorry, hang on 1 second. Give me 1 second for a minute.
I'm curious what yours is going to be. Like, there's so many more wrestling games that could be mentioned, and we're down to the top 3. N64 has like 6 of them bad boys, dude. And I'm trying to think what else there is. There's ECW has 2 or 3. I think I have 2. Then you got Fire Pro Wrestling. You got the AEW Fight Forever. You can think what you want with that. And you got the little funny off WWE games like the WWE.
I am back. Right. My daughter wanted. She wanted she wants to go to bed, but I had to tuck her in.
See, we're both parents there, but yeah.
Oh,
I get it.
Hey, you know what?
I had no problems.
This is the human side of us. We
Yeah.
we are parents. We got stuff we gotta do
It's real.
sometimes. We try to make time to talk for about video games though for an hour plus.
Okay.
But my number 3, Fire Pro Wrestling.
I was literally just talking about that right before you got back. I said there's so many good games out there. There's ECW has 2 of them. I said Fire Pro Wrestling. I was trying to think of like the funnier off-brand WWE games, like the arcade style ones that were kind of shitty. They had one for PS4. I couldn't think of the name. I was trying to think of it while you're gone.
I'm curious what your number 3 is. For some reason I have an idea of what it is. I'm not going to say it because I want to hear you first.
WCW NWO Revenge.
That's your number 3. Wow.
That's my number 3.
We're gonna have a problem with number 1, I think. Then I think it's gonna be you went there already with number 3. Okay,
I did. Was that on your list?
No,
Okay.
it's not on my list for a reason, and you'll know why. It's such a good game, though.
It really is.
You know, and like I think my only problem with I shouldn't say it's a problem, but people really tend to forget that there was a game before that, which was WCW
World
Tour. Yeah.
Yep.
And it was so good. And it
was very similar.
Same graphics engine.
Yep.
I think at that time I don't think the NWO was.
No, I think that was why it made it what it was too, because the NWO was there, and you had the new version of Sting.
Yeah. Yep. That was a classic. I remember.
No disrespect to Surfer Sting. Always loved the Sting.
Love Surfer Sting and the Tombstone. Oh man.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so good. So I'm gonna go number 2. My number 2. Now I was weighing my options on this one because I could have went one of the 2 different ways. I'm going SmackDown versus Raw, 2008.
2008.
So that I was between 2008 and 2006.
I'm surprised you didn't go with 2011. That was like the last of the series, and it was a good one.
The reason I went with 2008 is because 2006 is when GM mode came out.
Okay.
2008 is when it was kind of at its like biggest and like best, and that's when they added ECW as like the 3rd brand you could choose. So the gameplay was really good, and I believe I think 2008 was on Xbox 360. So that was, it looked real good. It played well, and then now your GM mode was even bigger because you could. And I always picked ECW. Always picked ECW when I was in GM mode. So that is why 2008 SmackDown versus Raw is my second best wrestling game of all time.
Okay, it's a good one too.
I'm trying to go a little bit of everywhere here.
I have a toss up on my 2, and it can go either way because they're not my number 1. I just didn't know what to do. It's WrestleMania 2000.
Don't pick that one.
But then there's No Mercy.
Well, I will tell you this: whichever one you pick is the other one's going to be my number 1.
I have it written down as WrestleMania 2000, so I'm going to WrestleMania 2000 is my number 2. I have it written down here.
I can't turn around and show you my phone, but my number 1 is WrestleMania 2000.
Really?
But it is okay. It's okay because I have no problem putting saying WWE No Mercy is my number 1.
It's just as good.
So here's the thing. WrestleMania 2000 is your number 2, and I had to jump in and say No Mercy is my number 1 just because they use the same engine as NWO World Tour, as WCW. I'm sorry. Oh my god, I just lost it. WCW, NWO,
Revenge, and then
Revenge, and then
World Tour.
WCW World Tour. Yeah, God,
Yeah.
my brain went stupid from that.
It's all right.
So they use that AKI Aki engine.
Is that what this is called?
Yeah, that was the engine that they used. That was like the movements, and that it looks so fluid. And that was a Japanese developer that used that engine, I believe.
I love that engine, though. I love that engine.
And you could tell because they're like in a WCW NWO Revenge, they had a bunch of Japanese wrestlers in there too.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
didn't they have some in World Tour as well?
They did have some World Tour as well, but they were able to put in a lot of like the moves that they were using then that weren't being done in the US at the time.
That's true.
So you had like all these moves that were like, oh my God, like, where are they getting this stuff from? Well, they were getting it from Japan. That's where they were doing it. But then they just had, they just had a bunch of phenomenal, just good modes. The characters, the wrestlers were fantastic.
Hold up. I'm looking at the roster. What do you want? NWO Revenge?
Give me a
Revenge roster?
Yeah.
I need to see the full roster.
Hogan, Nash, Hall, Sting, Macho Man, Steiners.
Here we go. Had 63 WCW NWO members.
Yeah, it was a ton. I think X-Pac was in it. It wasn't X-Pac.
6. He was 6.
He was 6 then, yeah.
So you got the NWO height, Hulk Hogan, the Giant, Bryan Adams, Scott Hall, Scott Norton, Buff Bagwell, Eric Bischoff.
And Bischoff was like a kung fu fighter. I remember that.
Yeah. Eric Bischoff, Scott Steiner, Kurt Hennig. NWO Red, the Red and Black, the Wolfpack. You got Kevin Nash, Sting, Lex Luger, Macho Man, and Conan. The Ravens flock, you had Raven, Lodi, Scotty Riggs, Sick Boy, Reese, and Billy Kidman. WCW, you got Rowdy Piper, Diamond Dallas Page, Goldberg, Bret Hart, Chris Benoit, Rick Steiner, Fit Finlay, Booker T, Saturn, Disco Inferno, Jim Neidhart, the British Bulldog, Glacier, Ming, Van Hammer, Chris Canyon / Mortis, Yugi Nagata, Larry Zbyszko, The Barbarian, La Parka, Stevie Ray, Wrath, Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, Psychosis, Rey Mysterio Jr., Dean Malenko, Juventud Guerrera, Ultimo Dragon, Chavo Guerrero, Alex Wright, Aki Man, THQ Man, Shogun, the Executioner, Dr. Frank, Jekyll, Maya, Inca Boy. It was called the EFW in the game.
Those were basically based on Japanese wrestlers. They just didn't use their names.
Yeah, and it tells them the name in parentheses. Mitsuharu Masawa, Toshiaki Kawada, Kentako Kobashi, Dr. Death Steve Williams, Jumbo Sahara. Yeah, Dr. Death Steve Williams was Jekyll. What else they got there? Hayabusa was in there. He was known as Hanzo Man. Then you had managers and valets: Jim Neidhart, Kimberly Page, Miss Elizabeth, Vincent, Rick Rude, Dusty Rhodes, and Sonny Ono.
They had Dusty Rhodes in the game.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
the game's so good.
It was such a good roster. And then I remember WrestleMania 2000, which is your number 2. That one, it just Are
you confused what my one's gonna be?
I feel it's gonna be something like Backyard Wrestling or some shit like that.
No, but that was almost one of my honorable mentions.
I figured it was going to be.
It was Backyard Wrestling and WrestleFest was my Legends of Wrestling.
A game I could not. A game that I thought about just for a minute, and the only reason was because is TNA, when TNA had its wrestling game.
Yeah, Kurt Angle and stuff was on the cover.
I don't remember if Kurt Angle was on the. I don't remember who was on the cover. I remember. I thought the cover was like AJ and Samoa Joe. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, Kurt was on there too. I bought it for the Switch. No, not the Switch. I mean the Wii.
The gameplay was bad,
So bad, dude.
but it was like you could do the Canadian Destroyer with Petey Williams, and the Canadian Destroyer at the time it wasn't the overused shit that it is today. Like when Petey Williams hit the Canadian Destroyer, you were like, oh, that dude's dead. He's dead.
Right?
Like that was the end of the match. Not like today where like someone hits a Canadian Destroyer off the top rope and then the guy kicks out because of course he does. I feel like if you hit a Canadian Destroyer, it's the end of the match. That should be it. There should it's a Canadian Destroyer now is like a super kick.
It is,
and it makes me upset.
I don't know if you were watching the last episode of Power Driver. Mike got to watch it in the middle of the ring with a bunch of wrestlers, and they projected on the wall, and they would count it out loud during the Uso match. How many super kicks were used between the two of them? 16, bro. 16 super kicks in that match.
If you went back and watched some of the Young Bucks matches from like Pro Gorilla,
oh yeah,
like you're probably talking more. You're talking like in the 60s and 70s, probably. That was crazy. But getting back on track here, WrestleMania 2000 used that same engine, and it was, Attitude Era. We had at that time, I think it was Raw's War. I think that was the game, or Warzone. That was
Warzone. That's what it was. I had that for PlayStation 1.
Yeah, they just they were fun games. They just weren't where they should have been, and that engine really made the game better. And then
I agree.
Then when No Mercy came out, they took a lot of moves that were in a lot of moves that weren't being used by WWE wrestlers, but that were in World Tour.
Yeah.
And made them unlockable finishers for your creatable wrestler. Because I don't think WrestleMania 2000 did not have a creator wrestler. I don't believe. I might be wrong, but No Mercy did.
Yeah,
because you could unlock finishers and use them, and they had the Burning Hammer, the Razor's Edge, the Jackknife, and the list went on and on and on. And
WrestleMania 2000 had 59 people on the roster.
About No Mercy. So 63 for NWO, WCW, or NWO. Revenge, and then 59 for WrestleMania 2000. How many for No Mercy?
Let's see here. So the roster for 2000 got Al Snow, Big Boss Man, Big Show, Brad Shaw, Brian Christopher, Cactus Jack, Chaz, Chris Jericho, Christian, China, D'Lo Brown, Deborah, Droz, Dude Love, Dummy, Edge, Farouk, Gangrel, Gerald Briscoe, Hardcore Holly, Ho, Ivory, Jacqueline, Jeff Hardy, Jeff Jarrett, Jared King Lawler, Jim Ross, Kane, Ken Shamrock, Mankind, Mark Henry, Matt Hardy, Meat, Michael Hayes, Midian, Mr. Ass, Mr. McMahon, Pat Patterson, Paul Bearer, and Prince Albert. Jeez. 74 for No Mercy.
Yeah, I think No Mercy may have been.
Damn.
I think Jericho was in. I think was.
I got the full Al Snow, Albert, Andre the Giant, Big Boss.
Hang on. There's a message here from Robbie for you. You're number one, Robbie. Dean just said so.
Bradshaw, British Bulldog, Bubba Ray Dudley, Bull Buchanan, Cactus Jack, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Christian, China, Crash Holly, Devon Dudley, D'Lo Brown, Dean Malenko, Deborah, Earl Hebner, Eddie Guerrero, Fabulous Mula, Farouk, Essa Rios, Edge, Funaki, Daryl Briscoe, Grandmaster Sexay, Hardcore Holly, The Godfather, Howard Finkel, Ivory, Jacqueline, Jeff Hardy, Jerry Lawler, Jim Ross, Kane, Ken Shamrock, Kurt Angle, Linda McMahon, and Lita. Oh, wait. Mae Young, Mankind, Mark Henry, Michael,
you gotta keep going.
Mick Foley, Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn, Pat Patterson, Paul Bear, Perry Saturn, God, Rikishi, Road Dogg, Scotty Too Hottie, Shane McMahon, Shawn Michaels, Stephanie McMahon, Stone Cold, Steve Blackman, Stevie Richards, Taka Michinoku. Oh, I forgot about him. Taz, Terry Runnels, Test, The Cat, The Rock, Tori, Triple H, Trish Stratus, Undertaker, Val Venus, Vince McMahon, Viscera, and X-Pac.
Oh my God.
What a roster for both.
Robbie says, I'm surprised your window locking ass can read that good and fast.
Love you, bro.
Couple of names that popped off when you were reading that. Val Venus. The Attitude Era Val Venus was literally the most ridiculous character, but was everything that I hoped the Intercontinental Champion could be.
He was so over, too. People loved it.
I can't even mute that one because that was so good. But then, you know what? And people forget this. S.A. Rios. Lita, I think Lita originally came out with S.A. Rios because she had like the fiery red hair, and he was always wearing the red ring gear. They both did the Asai Moonsault.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bro. SmackDown spoiler today. I just looked.
Oh god.
I got a notification, sorry. Tama Tonga? You familiar with him from New Japan?
Yeah, did he show up?
For Destiny? Yeah. With the bloodline angle.
Who did he beat the crap out of?
I just see a picture of Solo Sikoa holding him back, like relax, and he's just like ready to go.
I feel like Jacob Fatu's got to be coming pretty soon.
Dude's a madman. Sorry.
You know what's crazy too? And then we're gonna get to number one because we've been at this for an hour and a half. When we talk about video game, I could go another hour and a half, and it would be nothing for me.
Right.
But Roman is taking a break, and he said that Solo was like the next guy. So what if Solo is now going to be maybe not? He's not the tribal chief, but he's the head. Like maybe the head of the bloodline, and he brings
honorary head of the table, temporary head of the table.
Temporary head of the table, and he has
assistant to the assistant manager.
Yeah, he's the right hand, the assistant manager. Because I feel like there's going to be some sort of thing where they beat the hell out of Jimmy. Yeah. Jimmy Uso is going to be gone, and you have Solo, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu, and that oh my god, dude, they would maul everybody. Jacob Fatu by himself is like, in my eyes, without even cutting a promo, as an Intercontinental Champion or U.S. Champion. He's mid-card title immediately. If he's not thrust into that,
he could be the next Umaga.
Oh, absolutely. Except he's more athletic. The dude does moonsaults, and you
get Umaga's actual kid Zilla Fatu. He'll come.
Zilla, yeah. Whose son is Jacob? Where does he come from?
Yeah, he's a Uso's cousin. I'm trying to think who the dad is.
It's gonna be Rikishi's brother, then.
Maybe. That family tree's big as hell, bro.
They're all cousins. They're all cousins somewhere.
That family tree's huge.
So what is your number one game after we just basically ripped apart and said all N64 games belong?
It's real though. It's a reality.
True, it's so true. Now I'm curious what your number one is. I might believe.
Here comes the pain.
Oh God. I mean, I was hoping that was going to be one of your ones. I was hoping, I didn't want to say anything. I was hoping that was going to be from honorary mention, one of the numbers, and you made it number one. I
Uh,
think, I think we literally hit every best wrestling game of all time.
I think so
I think
too.
between our honorable mention and our top five, so 12 games, and there's been, I mean, I don't know how many wrestling games, 100,
Oh, it sucks, dude. You can do a
maybe
top 20. You can do.
you could do a top 50 probably easily. But I
Oh yeah,
think that we absolutely nailed it. So my honorable mention was pro wrestling for the Nintendo. Yours was
ECW Hardcore
ECW.
Revolution.
Yep. I had number 5 was WWF Royal Rumble. Your number 5 was
My number 5 was hold on, let me look at the list. I'm a brain fart.
so am I. And I know as soon as you say it, I'm gonna remember it.
2K14.
2K14, because that's right. Because my number 4 was 2K24, the newest one.
It was one
Absolutely
of
love
the
it. I believe your number 4 was WrestleMania.
WWF the arcade game.
The arcade game, that's right. WWF the arcade game. My number 3 was Fire Pro Wrestling. Pick whichever one you want. Your number 3 was
And WCW NWO Revenge.
that's right. My number 2 was SmackDown vs. Raw 2008. Your number 2 was WrestleMania 2000. My number 1 was WWE No Mercy for 64, and your number 1 was SmackDown. Here comes the pain.
Yeah.
Oh, that is about as perfect as a top from just top to bottom as it gets.
All fire.
We got new school, we got old school, we got everything in between. Every like kind of like top of the mountain wrestling game. That was
And I think it's agreed that both can. This is a combined honorable mention with Backyard Wrestling, just because of what it is.
The only reason I thought you were going to say Backyard Wrestling. The only reason I bought it as guy that was like PS2, I think.
You had ICP on there and everything, dude.
What is this?
So Monkey wants the best Pokemon game of all time. Maybe we'll do that next weekend.
Best Pokemon game of all time. I think we might do next episode. We're gonna do best Pokemon games of all time. So that is thank you, So Monkey.
Or unless you just want to name your favorite right off rip.
You just want right?
Yeah,
favorite right off the bat. Okay. Well, favorite. I'm gonna. You know what? People might be upset. I'm gonna go with it. I'm Pokemon X and Y. Too much good stuff in that game. Oh, look at that. So Monkey agrees. I want to point out that So Monkey is my daughter, Sophia.
Really?
She's watching this right now.
Hi, Sophia. Black
and white.
Yeah,
Black and white 1 or Black and white 2?
We'll go 1.
Okay. That was actually that was the first one that went it was outside of Japan. And it was, I believe it was New York. It was like America was like the setting. So that's Stoutland. Stoutland was Stoutland was one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. He was like, you had to, like, you were able to get him early on in the game.
Yeah,
that was the final evolution. But oh, so good.
I love Pokemon Snap too, though.
Pokemon. I think you got. I mean, if we're going Pokemon games, it's got to be.
Red and Blue's good too. Red and Blue. They're all so good, man. It's
I mean, you could pick. They're all good. They're all good. But I think that is going to do it for us today.
Hour and a half, man. Jeez.
I mean, I could, like I said, I could go forever.
I could too.
But
thank you, everybody.
Tune in next week. Thanks for everyone who tuned in. If you didn't tune in, we will throw out the replay everywhere that you can watch it. Let us know what you want us to talk about.
Hit that like and follow button. Please help us grow. Share it to people. Make your friends look us up on Facebook and X. Give us a follow. Give us a like. It means a lot to us. We'll be back Thursday, 8:00, back on a normal time.
Yes,
next
sir.
week. And until then, I'm the best. I see. I'm so used to the fun everything.
You're about to say I'm the best in the world.
Yeah, dude. I'm so used to hearing Mike say that.
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna.
I am not.
I'm gonna hit it with my closeout.
Yeah, go ahead. Do it.
That's Dean Samples. I'm Joey Schneider. This is the Press Start Pod. Thanks, everyone.
Peace.